Today, I asked for Clinton to come on because I just moved back to Colorado and I knew I personally needed to get out of my yoga pants into the community. And I also knew that if I taught classes and I did events, that I was going to create a bigger impact and get into deeper relationship with people. So I'm so honored and so grateful that I met Clinton, Chad, and Ben and their team and Lauren. So many of you guys know I just put on an event and I heard that these guys were like, you need to work with this team because if you want butts in the seat, you want a lot of impact, you need marketing help, you need automation help, you need Chat GPT help, this is them. And as a result, we just had an event that there were, I think there was, 156 people or something like that, Chris? And these guys helped me get 99 people of my own to this event. So I'm like, all right, it works, it works. So without further ado, welcome, Clinton. Thank you so much for being here. And you guys, if you guys can get off of camera, we like to, if you can, it's interactive. Clinton's here to coach. He's taken time to be with us. That would be great. If you can't, it's okay, but please keep yourselves on mute as well. So Clinton, thank you so much for coming and talk to us about Chat GPT and how we can make some more money and save some time.
All right. Thanks, Tanya. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to drop a lot of information in a short period of time. So when we're done today, we'll send out the presentation. So you have all of that, but you might want to take some notes. So how many here, put in the chat if you've worked with Chat GPT or you've attended a Chat GPT training. So with Chat GPT, you're hearing about it everywhere right now. And can you guys see my screen? Is it sharing? Awesome. Okay. I've attended dozens of Chat GPT training classes, and they're all kind of like the basic information. This is what Chat GPT is. This is a chat window. You type some things in, you hit a clipboard, you copy it over. We're not going to cover any of that. That's all basic stuff. You can find that with dozens of classes. We're going to dive in and teach you how to master Chat GPT to go way beyond what they're teaching anywhere else. So a little bit about me real quick. There it goes. All right. Whoa. I found this cool remote for my phone. All right. So I am an actual independent mortgage broker. I'm not a realtor. I am licensed. I'm a non-practicing agent. I have over 25 years of experience in this industry. I've been a licensed agent and practiced in 2 different states. I founded the Colorado mortgage team in 2011. I'm currently AI, crypto, and blockchain certified as a realtor. I do that to partner with our business partners and help them thrive and grow and build their business and bring a skill set that maybe they don't have. I'm a husband, a father of 2 little girls now. I just had my second child on August 3rd. So it's pretty adventurous over here at our house. We're outdoor enthusiasts. We do everything we can to get outside as much as possible. That's why we live in the state of Colorado. I'm an avid real estate investor, and I'm the first one to go and get my hands dirty. And what that means is I jump in and I want to learn how to do things, whether it's working on cars, building houses, or playing around with all this crazy technology stuff that we have. And I'm a lifelong learner. I believe that, the key to success in life is to be a sponge, to be humble and realize that you can always learn something. And so through this class, I'm hoping you guys pick up just a couple nuggets that'll make this well worth your time. All right, so let's talk about the narrative real quick. AI is now your competition. It's not the agents that are here next to you in Zoom. Things are getting automated at a record pace right now. And so out there in the marketplace, you're going to run across this. And what that means is that an AI certified agent is now something that's being pushed in the national news, things like Market Watch, Fox News, that kind of thing. They're posting articles all the time, and you're going to see it more and more. So I am an AI certified agent. We're one of only 300 in the world, and that's growing at about 25 a week right now. And so you're going to see that's going to become more and more common, and people are going to ask about that. So you just need to know that this is what you're going to find in the marketplace and what you're going to have to sell against if you're not using AI. So this is ChatGPT's definition of itself. It's a generative pre-trained transformer. I like to equate this like a baby brain. So ChatGPT is like a baby's brain that knows everything on the internet. So it's extremely knowledgeable in textbook subjects. What we find, sorry, this controller is a little bit slower. The minimal effective dose. Yes.
Can I jump in real quick? I don't think you're sharing your presentation. I think you're sharing a different screen.
Let's see. It says I am sharing.
I just see the slide master, so to speak. There we go.
Now do you see it?
I think you might have you're sharing maybe your screen instead of the application or so. I mean, it may just be me, but I'm looking at your
everybody else
Canvas
seeing
screen.
the same thing?
Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
let's stop this and see if we can share it a different way.
Because I'm sure you had great slides, but I didn't see it just yet.
Share. So I'm going to share my entire desktop, and then
Yeah.
I'll go into presentation mode here.
There we go.
All right, now do you see it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'm presenting out of Canvas, so whenever you're working through that into Zoom, it's fun technical things. So minimal effective dose. So one of the things that we run into with AI is there are literally thousands of applications out there. Most of those applications, about 90% of them, are built on top of ChatGPT, which basically means somebody has come in, they've created an API, they've given some command codes to ChatGPT. You go to their interface, put in whatever you're asking it to do. Like there's one a service that'll sell you a monthly subscription to generate listing descriptions. And so you go in and you put in your information to get the listing description, and it interfaces with ChatGPT. ChatGPT produces the listing description. It comes back through their platform and they sell it to you. So what that means is that if you master how to use ChatGPT effectively, by going to ChatGPT, you don't have to have all these other thousands of services that are trying to charge you for what they're giving you. All right, so this is the ChatGPT interface. Whoops, go back. And the only thing I want to tell you on this, can you guys see my cursor here? All right, each one of these individual chats. So you start a chat down here, it comes up here, and it has a historical record. Each one of these individual chats is an individual AI brain that will know what you put into that chat. It won't cross over to the other chats. What that means is that you are now able to target market audiences as specific as you can. So you might target home buyers that work at Home Depot in this zip code. And so you can program a brain for that target market. And you might just have a general one for like home buyers or first-time home buyers. Whoever you want to target, the more granular you get, the better it's going to be for generating content for you. Now let's talk about the danger of having a baby brain that knows everything on the internet. How many of you guys have gone and dealt with those chat bots that you go and you ask it a question, it comes back with the answers, and it's like, it's not even what I'm asking you about. And then you quickly realize it doesn't even have the information on any of the subject of what you're asking it about, and you can't get past that interface. All of those chatbots or APIs built on top of ChatGPT. Or how many times have you gone and got information back from an email, or you've even read a post and it's very robotic sounding, and you're like, this has got to be, you know, something that's artificial. We're starting to realize that this is kind of creeping into our business. Well, AI is a tool. I like to equate it like a hammer. A hammer can be used to build really beautiful things or to tear stuff down. And when you start employing AI in your business, you're going to work with that hammer, and you're either going to build your business up or you can destroy it. Because if you go out there and you have a very robotic message, people tune you out. Once they tune you out, you're out of the monkey sphere. And the key to our business is to be in as many monkey spheres as possible. So it can either put you in or take you out. Now, how do we safeguard against the baby brain? Well, you have to train your AI robot. You have to train it how to think like your target audience, how to put itself in their shoes, how to experience their emotions and their fears and that kind of thing. These are the things that Chat GPT doesn't know until you teach it. It doesn't understand tone, inflection, humor. Go into a regular Chat GPT and ask it to write you some jokes. It's terrible because it doesn't understand these things yet. But there's a way that we can walk it through a process, walk it through those steps so that it understands these things and then can create really engaging dynamic content that's not robotic at all. And that's what we're going to dive in and show you today. All right, so some of the pitfalls of using Chat GPT and AI without training it effectively is, one, you can get old and inaccurate market data. It's only updated through 2021. So if you're trying to get fresh market data and stats to be able to push out there, it's not a good resource for that. NAR is still your best source. Second, it can produce these robotic responses that have people just tune you out, which is the worst thing that can happen because it's hard to get them to tune you back in once they've shut you down. It can turn off clients and prospects. You lose the human touch. Since it doesn't know those emotions and those feelings, you don't make those kinds of personal connections. And so that's, one of the keys to our business. It's a very emotional driven business, right? So you have to make those connections. You lose your personality. You can lose your brand into it if you rely on it too much. And you can also have biased results. You can have regulatory risk, things like that, because ChatGPT does not understand those aspects of our business. I tell people when you go in and you use ChatGPT, if you don't train it and you ask it to write you a few social media posts, you really need to change about 70% of the content that it gives you in order to have an effective post that you're going to use. That's still pretty time intensive. You'll find that once you train the brain, you only have to change about 5% because you always want to put your branding, your personal message, your little touch, change words to like what you would use. Like you want to tweak it. You don't ever want to just copy paste, but you should be able to use a majority of the content because it's so much better once we train that brain. All right. Now that we've talked about all the negative, scary stuff out there with AI, let's talk about the opportunities because they are massive. So you can save so much time and cover so much more ground as an individual by using AI to leverage things. Some of the stuff that it can do really well for you is create dynamic listing descriptions, help you brainstorm, break the white page syndrome where you're sitting there. Where do I start? What do I say? How do I get started here? It's excellent for that. It comes up with all kinds of content ideas. You can ask it to write you 10 dynamic titles going for video or any kind of subject lines. It can do blog posts, social media posts, emails, letters, ebooks, how-to guides, scripts. It's great for writing scripts. It's great for website copy, coming up with slogans, titles, catchy little songs. Anything that you're going to have for copy, it is a great resource for. Now, we already talked about kind of training the brain and how each chat is a separate AI brain. The key here is you want to identify your target audience. So let's say you want to go after first-time home buyers moving to Colorado from Texas. You want to get as specific of the audience as you want to, because the message you're going to deliver to people that's really going to engage with them is going to be different depending on your audience. They're going to have different concerns than somebody that's moving here from Minnesota. And the reason why is because they're coming from two different climates, two different ecosystems for things like traffic, job opportunities, things like that. So the things that they're thinking about, they're concerned about, their fears, that kind of stuff, the motivations that you're going to talk to, they're going to be different for different audiences. So that the more granular you get, the better content you're going to get to put out. All right, so some of the questions you're going to ask, and you're going to want to go through and ask a new chat a series of questions. And you're going to start off with, let's just make it easy. Let's say your target audience is first-time home buyers. You're going to ask it a question. You're going to say, what are the problems that first-time home buyers face? What are the motivations? And you're going to let it generate a response. And then you're going to ask it the next question. What are the motivations of a first-time home buyer? Let it generate a response. What are the fears of a first-time home buyer? What are the goals? And you're going to go through and you're going to ask each one of these types of questions. And it gets it thinking like your target audience. It starts to think about what kind of processes are these people going through in their head? What are they feeling? What are they scared of? What's driving them, right? This is really what you're beginning to work on. And like I said, I'm going to move fast because we got a lot of content to shove into an hour, but we will send you these slides so that you'll be able to use this as notes and go back and reference. Next, you're going to make it right as if it was your target audience. And so you're going to say, write me an essay of a first-time homebuyer's life. Then you're going to say, write me a journal from the first-time homebuyer's perspective. Write me an article about the first-time homebuyer's emotions. So you're going to make it start to generate copy as if it's thinking like your target audience. And you're going to go through and ask it just a series of these questions to have it start dialing that in. Now, once you're done with having it write journals and articles and emails, you're going to ask it to change it from first person to second person. Once you've trained it to think like your target audience, now you get to activate it. And this is where your prompt package comes in. This is where you start to give it tasks and commands and ask it to be creative and funny and engaging and that kind of thing. You get to ask it to talk in a certain type of writing, because until you've gone through the steps of training it for your target audience, those prompts don't get you where you want to go. So you can buy all those prompt packages they sell out there, but really with about 20 or 30 keywords, you can come up with thousands of combinations, and you don't need to buy and spend money on those prompt packages they sell out there. Most of those are scattered across hundreds of different industries, not specific to one. You're just, they like to throw those big numbers out there to get you to make a purchase, but really very little of that content is applicable to what we are actually doing. So you'll be able to do this on your own. You're going to ask, when you do a prompt, you want your prompt to have a few key pieces in it. The first is you want to identify the audience that you're going after. So, and this is different than your target audience. It's your target audience and what problem you're going to solve or what objection. So you want to speak to either their fears, you want to speak to their goals, maybe the problems that they have, some of their common objectives. So you want to pick kind of what you are targeting with the concern of that first-time homebuyer, like the example that we're using. So you might say, write me 3 social media posts targeting a first-time homebuyer, speaking to their fears above, And then you'll go to the next prompt. The second prompt that you're going to put in is going to be, what writing style do you want it to take on? So do you want it to be catchy, creative, descriptive, sensational? And there's several other types of writing styles. You can Google types of writing styles and you'll find a list of like 30 or 40 that you can just kind of play around with, right? And so you'll tell it, make it catchy. And then you have one other prompt that you're going to put in. And that's where you add the emotion. And so you're going to tell it to use anxiety, emphasize fear, make it optimistic, create trust. Once you put these 3 styles of prompts in, then it'll start to generate your content. And it'll be amazing content once you've trained this brain.
But then can I pause you for a second?
Yes.
When you say put the prompts in, you have showed us in the beginning, right? You type something up, enter, type it up, enter. Is that what you're referring to as prompts each time you enter something and hit enter?
So a prompt is just a piece of the command that you're giving. So you'll put all these together in a sentence or two. You won't actually hit enter in between each one. So the prompt is separating the segment of the sentence. And you can actually add multiple prompts in a sentence. So you could ask it to create trust and emphasize fear.
So essentially you're saying create a post for a first-time home buyer, whatever that's looking in this area, create anxiety within it, those kinds of things. So basically it's one whole piece and then you press enter.
Correct. So you might say something like this: write me 3 social media posts targeting the journal above. And when you say targeting the journal above, it's because the journal above is a journal written about your target audience, first-time homebuyers, right? So it knows that. You don't have to tell it it's a first-time homebuyer because that's what you've been talking about inside this chat. So you can say, write me 3 social media posts targeting the journal above, and then you go back to your prompts after that. And you say, speak to the goals. And you go to prompt 2. And you say, be creative. And make it optimistic. And then you hit enter and it'll generate your social media posts. And so they're going to give you an optimistic post, creating what I call the light at the end of the tunnel for them, right? It's going to speak to their goals. And I don't remember what the first prompt is, but it combines those 3 prompts. So you're basically going to tell it to talk to either the journal, the email, what you changed from first person to second person, right? So you have your first series of questions are just putting it in the shoes, thinking of all these emotions and that kind of thing. Then you have it right. And that's where you're putting it into an email, you're putting it into a journal, you're putting it into a letter, just anything that it would write. You want it to write stories, basically. And then when you're giving it the actual prompts to create content, you're targeting those stories above that it wrote, because when it writes those stories, it's taking all the emotions it learned above, compiling it into a story together to learn and put itself in the shoes of your target audience. Does that make sense?
So sorry, is it a particular app? What vehicle are we using to write in these prompts, or what specific AI platform are we using?
So this is training Chat GPT.
So that means we have to subscribe to Chat GPT or to your...
You do want to sign up for Chat GPT. It's a free service. They do have a paid version that will run a little bit quicker, that won't have as much downtime, that kind of thing. I use the free version. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no new information on the emotional state of a first-time home buyer that's popped up in the last couple of years, right? So if the data is only good to 2021 versus 2023, doesn't impact what I'm doing with it. And I've never had downtime with it. I mean, anytime I need to get in there and utilize it, it works just fine. So there probably will be a point where maybe the value proposition is strong enough where paying for it makes sense. But you can get away with the free version and do just fine with it.
Thank you.
All right. When I get to the end of this, if you guys are willing to hang out, I'll throw my chat GPT up and I'll show you kind of some of the stuff that I play around with. Oh, I threw an example in here. Here you go. So this is where I told it to write me 3 Facebook posts. I wanted it to define the amount of characters. So I told it write it less than 350 characters, targeting the journal above, using the goals above, be creative, and create trust. And then these are the 3 that it popped out for me. And this is, I named mine. So if you look over here, it's first-time home buyer. So this is targeting first-time home buyers. All right, let's talk about listing descriptions. This is an amazing tool for writing listing descriptions. So I don't know if you guys are great at copy, but I'm terrible at it. So when I'm trying to create engaging, dynamic content, it's just not something that comes naturally to me. Maybe that's why I'm more in the lending world versus the real estate world. So the way you get a great listing description out of ChatGPT is you determine your ideal buyer. And what that means is you've created all these chats that are specific to your target audience. So you want to look at the house that you're listing and you want to say, okay, who's my ideal buyer for this house? Is it something that's going to go FHA? Is it something that's going to go as a first-time home buyer? Is it a luxury home buyer? Is it somebody that's buying it as a vacation rental? It makes a great short-term rental. You want to figure out who your ideal buyer is. Then you want to go to your chat for that ideal buyer, and you want to give it a couple examples of good listing descriptions. So when you guys are out there and you're just working in the field, you're looking at houses, you're reading about properties, when you come across a really good listing description, something that you really like, you want to start to take note of that, save it, copy it, put it in a Word document, right? And the reason why is because you want to feed 2 to 3 examples of what a really good listing description is to your AI brain. So you're going to tell it, here's 3 examples of really good listing descriptions. And then you're going to come back and you're going to say, write me a listing description, similar in format and tone as the ones above. And then you're going to give it, here's the property address, here's the bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage. Now, the reason you do that is because ChatGPT, if you don't tell it the square footage and the beds and the baths, will pull information off public records. And we all know like 70 to 80% of those records are incorrect. So we want it to be accurate. And so you give it that data. And then you hit enter and it'll generate an amazing listing description. At least a lot better than what I would produce on my own. So I'm going to give you a couple prompts of what you're going to do. And in this case, these prompts are, like you're going to put it in, you're going to hit enter for these. So you're going to say, you're going to ask it to be a world-class copywriter who specializes in whatever type of listing description you're writing. So it could be a short-term rental listing description, it could be a first-time homebuyer listing description. And basically, when you ask it these questions, it's going to come back and say, absolutely, I can do that. And then try and impress you and give you some examples. But the whole idea is that you're putting it in the right mindset of what you're going to ask it, right? If you don't actually tell it what mindset you want it in, then it's just going to make an assumption and it's going to give you information. And that's where you start to get the stuff that doesn't kind of make sense, or it sounds all weird. So you have to put the brain in the right mindset. So that's what this first prompt's going to do. Now you're going to provide it with the 3 examples I told you about. And you're going to say, here's 3 examples of great listing descriptions. And you're just going to copy and paste them in and hit enter. You're not going to ask it to do anything. You're just telling it, here's examples of 3 great listing descriptions. And then you're going to ask it to write your listing description with similar format and tone, targeting the journal above, or the email or the essay, whichever one you want to reference. And then you're going to want to give it, see if I put that on here. Yep. You're going to give it the property address, bed, bath, and square footage. And if you want to highlight anything, so I had one lady and the property had an elevator and she just really wanted it to be like this funny elevator listing description. It was just like, that was really important to her. So we told it to highlight the elevator in the property and to make it funny. And it came back with actually a really good listing description for a funny elevator listing description. So if there's anything special about that property that you think it should highlight or emphasize, and I'm not talking about like a remodeled kitchen or something like that. You want something that's really unique about that property that maybe isn't going to be readily known by just on the internet, right? Because ChatGPT is pulling all this stuff off the internet. So it might be something that the homeowner added to the property that nobody knows about yet. So maybe they put a pool in the backyard and nobody knows it as a pool. Maybe you want to highlight that area. All right, so let's talk about winning the listing. So AI is now like the next thing that people are talking about. And unlike blockchain and crypto, where they were a little bit ahead of their time and kind of fizzled out, and there's a lot going on in that space. So it's not gone. AI is actually probably going to be a catalyst to bring some of it back. But it had like a euphoria moment and it kind of came back. AI has been around for like 30 years plus, and we've been using it for a long time. You know, you use AI when you take the background off of an image, or I mean, it's always been on the corporate side of things where the average person couldn't use AI in their life. They just were affected by companies using it. Chat GPT, and there were actually a few before Chat GPT, but that was the big name that people started paying attention to, brought it to where now the average person can use it in their life and use it as a tool. And so it's going to continue to be a part of the narrative. The good news about AI is that it doesn't replace people. It's not thinking on its own. It's not creating stuff that didn't exist. It's just aggregating data is really all it's doing. And so it enhances productivity. It allows you to leverage time and do more than you could before, but it can't do the job for you. There's always going to be the need for a realtor and a lender to be able to have that personal connection and to give personalized advice and speak from experience. What it does allow you to do is spend more time with your client, more time doing those personal connections and activities, and less time doing all the mundane stuff that doesn't really truly make the connections and build your business. They just kind of keep everything going. Now, I like to tell people, everybody can get behind the wheel of a car and drive. But would you put your family behind the wheel of a car with somebody that doesn't have a driver's license? No, of course not, right? That's kind of what an AI certified agent means. It means that we've kind of mastered how to use these tools as opposed to going out there and trying to figure out how to learn them and screw them all up and make mistakes. At the end of the day, using AI effectively in the listing process can net you more money for your house, and it can bring in a larger buyer pool. If it's used ineffectively, you probably could get a smaller buyer pool and maybe less money for your house. So it can be a very expensive proposition for a homeowner. That's how we frame it into the marketplace. That's how they teach us to frame it into the marketplace. I will tell you the reason why. The other thing is AI is so prevalent now in the real estate industry. I mean, you see it everywhere in your news feeds, on Facebook, advertisements, all that kind of stuff, right? Everybody's kind of dabbling around and playing around with AI now. So maybe someone's going to use AI in a listing. Maybe they're not going to tell you they're using it, but they're using it anyway. And so that's something that's now becoming something that the consumer's paying attention to and they want to know about. But I will tell you, if you can leverage AI in your sales proposition to prospects, you're going to win almost every single time. Because when you pull up Chat GPT and you've got a trained brain for the target audience of that house, and you say to the seller, we're going to do a social media campaign, and you tell it to write you 25 social media posts, 5 for each major platform, and you hit enter and you let them watch it just spit all that information out in real time, and you say, you know what? We really need a great listing description for your property. Let's write one right here. And you type that in and you turn it around and you let them watch that listing description pop out. And you say, you know what? We're going to do an open house next week. And here's how we're going to get everybody there. And you say, write me a 5 email series campaign to get people to go to an open house. And you turn that around and it writes all those emails. And you say, we're going to send that to our buyers list and our brokers list. And we're going to do an open house next weekend. And then you ask them, you just point blank ask them, would you like me to spend all my time selling your house, providing service to you, making sure that you don't fall into any pitfalls, while everybody else is spending hours and days trying to generate this kind of content? That's the difference between working with an AI certified agent and everybody else. And when you put that value proposition in front of a seller, you're going to win that listing a majority of the time. Just covered all that. All right, so I threw this out there. If you guys want to know how to get certified, you can scan this QR code and you can find out about it. It's just the process I went through. It's $1,000. I will tell you, it was the best $1,000 I ever spent. They do a deep dive into way more stuff than I covered here. They cover other platforms. I mean, they go into some crazy stuff with AI that you can implement into your business. I'm not here to sell you on a certification, but people ask all the time. So I'll throw it up here. When you get the slides, if it's something you're interested in, you can look more into it. Some other tools that we use that you guys might want to take some time and just check out. Synthesia. That's a really cool one. It's an avatar that you just upload a Word doc of what you want it to say. You pick out of a couple hundred people like who you want to have say it. You can build a background kind of like what I have, and it can deliver whatever message you want. It's very interesting to use for virtual tours. So let's say you're targeting this person coming from Texas and they're coming here to Colorado, and you want to send them a virtual tour of a property. You can pull the pictures off the MLS. You can have the avatar speak whatever text you want and tell them about the house and speak to the differences. Like, look at these beautiful French doors. You're going to leave them open all summer long because bugs don't come in and out of the house here in Colorado like they do in Texas. Guess what? We don't have humidity here, so you're not going to be drenched in sweat because you got some fresh air. This is why you're moving to the Rocky Mountains, right? You're going to speak to what's important to that target audience, the things that they're thinking about. I want to get out of this swelter down here. I can't even get out of air conditioning, right? These are the kinds of things that you can do without having to go shoot a video, get all dressed up, look presentable, go out to the property. You can literally do it in 5 to 10 minutes with Synthesia. tinywow.com. This is a pretty cool one. There's literally thousands of free AI tools. I mean, things like QR code generation and taking the background off of your pictures and editing PDFs but it's all free. And there's literally thousands of tools. So that's a cool site to know about. Try it on AI. This is studio quality headshots for like $10. So what you would do is you go basically take a picture of your head, right? It could be a picture like, how we look now. Really what you care about is the face. You want to make sure you're in good lighting, and then you upload that up, and they'll create dozens of professional headshots in all sorts of different outfits and locations and things like that, turnkey for you. Video AI or video. This is long form video editing on autopilot. What that means is you can sit down and shoot a video and just talk for like 3 hours. Doesn't matter if you get it right, wrong, you mess up. You can talk about dozens of subjects, whatever you want to. You just sit down and shoot a video. Then when you're done, you upload it to this AI, and it will automatically edit your video, chop it up into dozens and dozens of shorts, reels, all sorts of different types of content that you can then take out there. Not only that, but it gives a ranking to each one of those videos that it creates to give you like an engagement score, so you know how well it might perform when you post it out there. Saves a ton of time. And then lastly, Descript. Now this one's really cool. It's an AI you talk to, and it learns your voice, and then it talks just like you. So it uses your tone, your inflection, all that kind of stuff. So then let's say you want to shoot a podcast, right? You can write the podcast, upload it into Descript, and it'll read it in your voice. You never actually have to shoot the podcast. You just launch it. You could actually go to Chat GPT, have it write the podcast directed towards a target audience, upload it into Descript, and have it talked in your voice. Some pretty crazy stuff out there in the world of AI that you can play around with. All right, so I promised Tanya I would do this. Sneak peek. So we created our own cryptocurrency called Mortgage Coin. You might have seen that from my background. It's a white label reward token for the real estate industry, where we can reward our clients for working with us in the form of mortgage crypto. And it's kind of like having like reward points or miles or any of that kind of stuff that you would get somewhere, and then they can trade it back in for stuff. So like right now we've started a fantasy football league. By the way, if anybody wants to join our fantasy football league, we have a couple spots open, and we let people trade in some mortgage crypto as their buy-in to join the fantasy football league. We let them trade it in for appraisals, verifications of employment, home inspections, full credit reviews, tri-merge credits that they get a copy of, and things, and swag, shirts like this, things like that. So this is something that we technically have been in beta launch, but there'll be more coming out, and just something to help create a sticky ecosystem in the real estate world, so that everybody hopefully can do more referral and repeat business. Sneak peek number 2 is NFT closing gifts. So I have an NFT company where we memorialize memories and moments for people. So what that means is an NFT is simply, we probably know it as like art and music and games and things like that. But it has real world applications in dozens and dozens of industries. And so for us, we said, we'd like to memorialize the moment that somebody buys their first house, or maybe they're selling empty nesters. I got this idea because I bought my house from a couple that had were the original owners. They had lived in it for 20 years. They raised their kids. They had all moved out, and it was just them, and it was too much house. We're sitting at the closing table, and they're just both in tears because they're leaving all the memories behind. You know, they had this house. They were leaving. They were just, you know, it was a very emotional thing. Very uncomfortable for me, but, you know, very emotional for them. So I had this thought: what if we could memorialize those memories for them? Because we've remodeled the house and they'll never even recognize it. They drive right by, they wouldn't even recognize the house at this point. Their memories are gone, but we could have memorialized those moments for them. And I thought, you know, we should do that. I went looking for the service to be the customer so I could do this for my clients as a thank you gift. It didn't exist, so we wrote the company. But one of the cool things about this is you open a digital vault on the blockchain when you mint an NFT for somebody. So you capture their memories, but then they have a digital vault. And I believe that one day we're going to have digital property rights. So right now we have mineral rights, we have air rights, you have land rights. One day we'll have digital property rights. And so you start to create those digital property rights on the blockchain when you mint one of these and open that digital vault. So you might put in there things like notes, deeds, serial numbers, warranties, paint colors, contractor information, that kind of thing. And then when you go to sell that house in the future, you can pass all that information on to the new owner while retaining the personalized NFT that you got from your lender, your agent. So we'll have more information on this in the near future, but sneak peek. All right, so be the first to know if you want to join our list. Anytime we roll out a class, something like the mortgage crypto, something like joining our fantasy league, something like the NFT side, when we roll out business cards with that, I mean, we're always doing things here at the Colorado Mortgage Team. If you want to be the first to know of what we're doing, you can join our list, our insider list, and you'll get information and opportunities before other people know about it. All right, so I tell people our partnership is your secret weapon. You couldn't get out of here unless I gave you a call to action on the Colorado Mortgage Team. These are some of the things we partner and do with you in your business. We do classes, we do events, we do community farming. I live in Roxborough. We put on an Easter egg hunt, had over 1,000 people there just this last Easter. We do House Happy, a concierge service for everybody. We do Phone Burner to leverage time when we're calling prospects. We do HomeBot, which is another AI tool for valuations. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. They've really saturated the market out here. We do list reports to help automate listings for you guys. We do snail mail. What that means is, yes, we write a letter. It's a personalized letter, and we mail it to our past clients every single month. But it's not just us sitting down and creating a letter. We have a whole system about how you do that and how you do it effectively. We do set it, forget it, drip emails. We have a 10-year campaign, autopilot, where you just add value to people so you stay in their monkey sphere. We don't talk about mortgage and real estate. We talk about the fact that somebody could take a picture of your house key at closing, take it to a keysmith, locksmith. They can make that key and then come get it into your house. So you need to safeguard yourself, and you use like a wooden key or those signs. You don't take picture of the actual house key. Tips like that, or like the gas tank thing that I saw it on TV on one of the insurance things, where it has the arrow that tells you which side the tanks are, you know, things like that. Stuff people pay attention to. We do database farming. We have the local selfie stick pro. I love that one. It's one of my favorites. If you're not using a selfie stick, that is the best thing you can do for your business at a low cost. Obviously, we do lots of video, social media. We talk about the monkey sphere all the time. Doing the AI certified partnership. Maybe you don't want to be an AI certified agent, but you can go out and use the AI certified brand to win listings by saying, hey, we have an AI certified team, right? Our team, we're your team. You don't have to actually go get certified to be able to leverage that into the marketplace. We do broker opens, we leverage reviews. We've got hundreds of 5-star reviews. It's not by happenstance. It's a targeted plan that we use. We do pay-per-click ads with dynamic targeting. That's where you go, you look at something, and then everywhere you go, you see the same ad for the same thing chasing you around, right? Well, you could be doing that to people on the real estate side if you wanted to. Obviously, we do the crypto rewards, the digital property rights, the NFTs. We do homes for heroes. We give back to our community. We love all of our community heroes that do thankless work for us, and we do a lot to try and just give back to them. And that is a great marketing pillar. We do the AI listings. We're happy to partner with you and create a strategy around how to use that in the marketplace to win more business. Now, obviously, the listing descriptions, if you don't want to train an AI and write your own listing descriptions, hit the easy button. You can actually just send us the property information. We'll generate listing descriptions and send it back to you. No big deal. And open house blowouts. So you've seen the mega open houses. This is like the omnipresence open house where you're doing like live streams and cookouts. And it's like a whole event that generates so much buzz at an open house and gets you more listings. So these are just some of the things and strategies and things that we do with you, but we're happy to sit down and do a strategy session. So if you click the QR code or scan it over here, you can actually schedule a one-on-one strategy session with us where we will put together a targeted plan to reach out and build business the way that you want to grow.
And Clinton, this is just Colorado, right? You guys just help Colorado?
Well, we land and work in Colorado, but we will work with people around the country. We will still give you tools, information, resources, partner you up with great brokers and things like that. At the end of the day, if you're not working with an independent broker, you want to. 78% of all transactions last quarter were on the retail side. Only 22 on the broker side. You need to be working with an independent broker. It's not even close with the value proposition. You're doing a disservice to your clients if you're working with the retail channel. Let's stay in contact. I got all my social media platforms here. You can scan any one of them and find us. We don't expect you guys to sit here and scan 15 codes. We're going to send you the slides to this, so you'll have all this information to interact with in the future. But wanted to throw it out there. We're always putting stuff out every single day. You guys can steal it, repurpose it, rebrand it, do whatever you want to. We put it out there for you guys to be able to use. So we'll open it up to some questions. What kind of questions can I answer for you guys?
Blessing had a question. Blessing.
Hi, so I was asking, when you were in the listing presentation with the seller and you're opening up Chat GPT and saying, let's generate the listing description, is that simply, or are you suggesting that that is simply a value add, or is there a compliance guideline that we need to follow before we use Chat GPT or any AI in their listing?
Okay, so what you're really showcasing to them is the way that you can utilize tools to generate more value to them. And the value proposition that you're really giving them is, we only have so much time to spend on your listing. There's not this infinite amount of time out there, right? How do you want your agent's time spent? Do you want that agent's time spent giving you personalized service, talking to you about pitfalls, negotiating offers, making sure that you're not making mistakes? Or do you want the agent's time spent sitting behind a computer trying to come up with copy to generate emails, or to get on social media, or to generate listing descriptions? Or maybe they just don't do half of the stuff that I'm going to do. That's really what you're showing them. But most people have never seen AI work. They've never seen it generate something. So when you show them in real time what you're talking about, it really clicks home what you're telling them, that value proposition. They're sitting there going, wow, you just did hours and hours of work in seconds that the next guy is going to have to do. And if he doesn't have this tool, they're already seeing hours of savings right there in real time. And that's why you want to show it to them.
Right. I wanted to make sure that I was understanding that that is a strategy to elevate myself versus get the okay, because I necessarily haven't gotten the okay in other instances. So that was really good. Thank you for the clarification.
Sure. And the other piece of that value proposition that you want to make to them is, look, when you're working with an AI certified real estate team like us, right? And you can say that because maybe I generated your listing description, right? When you're working with us, we've already put in there's literally thousands of hours that have gone into learning how to correctly train the AI brain, not just training the brain, but to figure out how to correctly do it. We've put all that work in. We've mastered this. This is why we're AI certified. The next guy is probably using AI. More than likely. In fact, he might come in here and when you ask him, he's going to tell you, oh yeah, I use AI. And when you say, are you certified? He's going to say, I don't have that certification, unless he lies to, but he can't prove that he has it, right? And the danger there, seller, is that if you don't use AI correctly, it could actually damage your listing. It could turn off the buyer that might be the buyer that was going to buy your house, or the one that was going to pay $10,000 over asking, because we didn't deliver a good message to them, right? So there's a risk to using an agent that's not AI certified, is really what you're presenting to them, right?
I love that. We have Angela has a question, and in terms of time, we're 1 minute away. So once Angela's done, are we done? I'm leaving that in your court.
I'm happy to hang around and answer questions as long as you guys have them.
Okay, I have about 10 minutes personally, but you guys can hang out. Go ahead, Angela.
Okay, quick question. When you talk about the AI brain or the baby brain and training it, so like I use Chat GPT, but I'm not an expert. I use my son sometimes. So just like if I say, like today I was trying to, realtor's job description. So can you go back and add more questions to that brain?
So you can, but I find that it's more effective if you just kind of start over with a clean slate and then keep it in a narrow focus of what you're targeting. And I have brains that are AI certified agent, successful real estate agent, successful mortgage lender. I trained a whole brain on thinking like a successful mortgage loan officer, and then asked it to write responses to reviews. So that way it would, so that way it would kind of think in terms of how I might think. So I would say if you want to pivot, it's better to start with a clean slate so that you don't have any external inputs in there that don't fit into the narrative of what you're focused on targeting.
Love it.
And you can have unlimited chats. So I always go in and name them, so they're kind of easy to identify what they are, but you can have unlimited chats. So it's not like you're going to run out of space.
Love that. Okay, Michaela Romero has a question.
So I was wondering, is there a way that you can save conversations to like save that target audience or anything like that, so you don't have to regenerate all of those prompts every time?
Yes. So each one of your chats when you start are going to be automatically saved over on the left-hand side. And that's what I guess technically on this side on the video, but that's what you see in that picture. And so they are saved. You don't have, once you've created one and trained it for a target audience, you don't have to retrain it again. You can just keep asking it follow-up questions, creating this type of content. And that's why we edit it and name it accordingly on the left so that we can find it pretty easily. Great question.
Thank you.
Actually, can I piggyback on that? That's
Sure.
a really great question, because every time I've used Chat GPT, it puts everything on the side, but I get super paranoid. Like, I don't know where this is going to go. And then I'll go save it all into a Word doc because I'm freaked out that it just created this like amazing thing. And then when I go back in, now it's going to charge me, for the service or whatever. So what are your thoughts on that? That's just what I do.
Okay. I'm still sharing my screen, I think. So I'm going to show you guys. I'll show you this since we have a few minutes. So you're absolutely correct on that. It is, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so this is my Chat GPT. Now, it's going to rank everything on the left-hand side, and it's going to be based on the last time you opened it. And so you'll have all the historical stuff on the left. You won't lose anything. And then every time, like if I open this Homes for Heroes one, right? And I ask it a question, it's going to move it to the top up here on the left, right? So whatever you're interacting with the most is going to stay near the top, and then everything else is going to cascade down, right? And you can see it's got all your historical stuff up here. And I start asking it questions, just like how I was telling you guys to ask. You're asking it, what's the internal dialogues? And I'm targeting very specific people that fit into that Homes for Heroes category. Now, when you come down and you ask it to generate a post, you can click this little clipboard here, and that copies all the information, and then you can open a Word document and paste it right in.
Ah,
So
okay.
you go here and hit paste, and it keeps all the formatting, right? So when I ask it to do things, I usually will save the information into a Word doc like this, and then I won't post all of these. I'll go in and say, write me 3 social media posts about whatever. It'll generate 3 posts. I'm only making 1 post. So I'll go in, highlight it, hit red. I posted that. I used that one. The other 2 I haven't used, and then I save it historically. So that way I can kind of track what I've been marketing with, what I haven't been marketing with, because it does get confusing if you're trying to only track it within the individual chats themselves, right? So that's how I personally manage it on my side. Also, I sometimes will combine them. So if it writes 3 social media posts, I might like the first sentence in one, the second sentence in another. And so I might kind of combine them a little bit, plus put a little bit of my own personality in there. Remember back in the beginning, I said, when you don't train a brain, you're going to change like 60 to 70% of the content, because it's just not going to make a lot of sense, or, something you would never really say. When you have your brain trained, you're going to change 5%. You're still going to change something. Sometimes you can copy and paste the entire thing and not change something. Most of the time, you want to give it a little bit of tweak. Put your message, your personality into it.
You know what I
So-
like what you said. Excuse me, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So one thing that caught me like an aha for me is, I'll go, create for example, we had a guy in Tahoe, right? And he's like, people are freezing their asses off up here. How do I make video scripts? I go, let's go and Chat GPT and say, write 3 short, funny video scripts for if you like to freeze your ass off, or you have frozen balls, but you really loved Tahoe, right? And it wrote all of these things really funny, but I didn't know that you could say, and then you said something about the journal above, in the tone of the journal above. I just thought these were all totally separate, and they weren't speaking to anything that you did above.
Right. Yeah. So if you'll look at like the prompt I use here, it says write 4 closing day social media posts to the journal above.
Yes.
And this was like this specific, like what you're looking at is I was just writing a post. We had a closing for one of our Homes for Heroes clients, and I was just writing the closing, the thank you post or whatever, right? And so I was just kind of getting a prompt of what to write, because this is just not my forte.
I love
But
that.
you always want to tell it, you want to write it, and you want to target the journal above, the email above, something that it wrote, because in that specific writing, I guess, right? Because the whole thing is a chat, but in that specific dialogue, it is writing from the perspective of your target audience. And it's taking into account all the stuff you started with, where you're talking about fears and motivations and all that kind of stuff. It's putting all of that into that journal or that email or that blog post that it's writing. And so when you say target that, that's where it's grabbing all that emotional data from that it's starting to use when it's writing your copy.
Love that. Well, thank you so much. This was incredible. You guys go to his pages so you guys can get all the latest and greatest. And we may have you come on. Like if you were to do a deep dive class, Clinton, what would be a deep dive class that realtors would be using right now? So you just did the overview general. What would be the most valuable deep dive?
I would say it would just depend on what part of AI you're trying to implement into your business, right? I mean, everybody's going out. This is why we do those strategy sessions with people, because it's really like, I mean, I just listed out like 20 things or whatever that we can help you with, right? But we're not going to sit around and talk about doing, this amazing open house if, you're not interested in targeting listings. Maybe you're only interested in, I mean, so it depends on how somebody really wants to grow their business. I'm going to tell you right now, from a marketing standpoint, that think of marketing like you're standing on a riverbank and all your clients, all your prospects, all your leads, they're on another riverbank. And when you're creating a marketing strategy, you're building a bridge across that river. And the thing that I see most people do to their detriment is they start building too many bridges at once, but they don't finish a bridge. So really what you need to do is pick, what bridge do I want to build, and build that bridge. And once the prospects are coming across that bridge to your business, then go build another bridge. You can build thousands of bridges, they all work. But what doesn't work is when you're building too many bridges at one time.
Okay,
And so
could we talk about one bridge that we keep talking about, which is video
absolutely.
and video scripts? We just had Jackson Wilkie come on and he sold 450 homes in a couple of years just doing YouTube video. And in the YouTube video, he was talking about those things, right? You were on that class. He was saying, you want to know your town and you want to create these scripts. So I have a lot of people here that are doing that. So in that case, what would you recommend in terms of this? And could you do a deep dive on having them have Chat GPT help them with that?
Absolutely. So in his class, he was telling you want to find that target audience, right? And so, I think he was in Texas and he was saying people moving to Texas and why they wouldn't want to move to Texas. Well, I'm in Colorado, right? We have a lot of people that move here from Texas. And so our target audience would be somebody living in Texas that's looking to move to Colorado. So we would train one of these brains to think like that target audience. And then we would ask it to write engaging YouTube titles, ask it to write video scripts, ask it to come up with ideas for YouTube videos towards that target audience, right? And it will do that. So if I go here and I say, write me 10 YouTube video titles.
And you put for Pueblo, Colorado.
Targeting the journal above. Well, this is for first time or for Homes for Heroes clients, because that just is the one that I'm in.
That's right.
Make it punchy and optimistic. I don't think I spelled that right. I know I didn't. You just ask it and it just starts spitting out data. And this is what's so amazing when you're sitting in front of a prospect, right? Somebody you're trying to get a listing with. You can even use it on the buyer side, but really with the listing presentation, and you start having it spit stuff out like this, right? And it's speaking really engaging and dynamic to the audience that you're targeting, right? You sit down with somebody, you say, look, you're in 80010 with $300,000 house. It's like 2-bedroom, 1 bath and a roar. You're targeting a FHA down payment assistance product, first time home buyer. That's just the reality of probably who's going to buy your house, or an investor if you want to, not sell for top dollar. So then you go into, your first time home buyer, down payment assistance chat, and you start asking it questions to generate content, and it starts really speaking to that audience. And usually the person that's in that type of property was in those shoes at some point, and now there's a reason they're either not in those shoes or they're making a move, right? So they kind of understand that. Or how many times have you gone to a listing appointment and it's a veteran with a VA loan and they're selling the property, right? I mean, I've had a lot of deals where people are like, we took your offer because you're another veteran, right? Well, if you know that going into that listing presentation, and you can pull up a targeted chat for veterans and start speaking to them with your marketing right in front of them, it blows their mind. Their jaw is on the ground.
This is amazing. Okay, so it looks like we're going to book you again for a deep dive on how to use ChatGPT to create authentic video content. Maybe we could even make it into a workshop. Like you kind of teach us and say, okay, you guys go in your own ChatGPT and enter this. And then we walk away and people have YouTube titles and those kinds of things. I don't know if you'd be interested in that, but I think that would be phenomenal.
Sure. And I will tell you on the YouTube channel, the Selfie Stick Pro is what you want to use to grow your YouTube channel. What that basically means is you want to be known as the local expert. And the way to be the local expert is to be local. So every time you're out and about, you should pull your selfie stick out and you could hold it out and do a video while you're walking around, right? You've got all the background or whatever it is because you're local. Or you should be pulling out and taking pictures at things that are recognizable, whether that's the sign for the local area or the shopping center or a statue or a piece of art or at a park or whatever it is, anything that somebody's going to be like, oh yeah, I recognize that. You should be taking pictures, you should be taking videos, you should be giving tips, you should be speaking to your audience. You know, you can ask when you're working within ChatGPT, you can click this button, you can edit this, and then you can have it regenerate, right? So you can either keep asking it questions and have this huge list of questions, or you can just edit. So sometimes I'll go in and I'll just edit it for what I want it to do. So I might change it and say, write me 10 YouTube scripts. And it actually knows when you misspell things and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty good with that.
Perfect. All right. Well, I have to go. This is mind blowing, just amazing. We see things here and there, but I am very excited because one thing I know that a lot of you, I coach a lot of you guys get into analysis paralysis. The other thing is you guys are trying to become certified, bona fide marketing experts. When guess what you should be doing? You guys need to be picking up the phone, calling people saying, hey, hi, do you want to sell? Do you know someone to sell? I just want to share an article with you. We don't need you guys trying to become marketing experts. That's why we have strategic partners like this, because a lot of you guys are getting way too caught up in the minutia of the marketing. And I know you guys, I'm looking at you guys right now, and I know you're going to know who I'm talking to. You guys have way too much going on for you. You guys all have spheres of influences. You guys are articulate, you're educated, you're good looking. You guys have too much experience to be getting caught up unless you want to be a lender and do this. You guys are supposed to be selling homes. Okay. So I bring people on like this to help you, right? To help you move the needle with your marketing, because in this world, in this day and age of real estate, you have to know all this stuff to be competitive. But I'm just going to warn you, please do not get bogged down with this stuff. Okay. Go make the imperfect video. Even if ChatGPT has not been trained by Clinton, even if it's a baby brain, it's better than nothing, right? Done is better than perfect. So I just don't want you guys to get too caught up in all this craziness. Just go and call people and then reward yourself with this stuff after you've actually picked up the phone or door knocked or had an open house or something. Okay. This is my coaching. This is your coaching moment. Okay.
I will tell you, anything is better than nothing, right? You can't get anywhere if you do nothing. So just do something, take action. And when it comes to video, people think way too much about how do I look? How do I sound? Was that perfect? Are my graphics great? Did I edit this? What actually works is just being real, being authentic. Turn it on, talk to it as if you're talking to your, husband's wife, friend, family member. You're going to make mistakes. It doesn't matter. as long as you're providing value and good content that people want to know, people go to the information. They don't always go to what's the shiny, fancy, well-written, perfectly scripted thing. They go to where they're getting the information that they're seeking. And most people will trust video that has mistakes and errors and all that kind of stuff way more than they will if it looks too perfect. So
Yes,
don't overthink
yes.
it. Hit play. And every time you shoot a video, you'll get better.
Yes, yes. So
You
you
get more
guys,
comfortable, more natural.
absolutely reach out to Clinton, you guys, and create an appointment with him. And if anybody needs coaching or help with their real estate, you can also reach out to me. You guys got a team behind you. So I wish you guys all the best, and I'm excited to learn more. Thank you, Clinton.
All right. Thank you. See you guys.